Hi, my name's Kelly, and I'm going to walk you through quickly how I prepare one of my teams for sprint planning. At this point, I've assumed they've already demonstrated their product, closed out their sprint, also had their sprint retrospective. We have great action items for loading into our next sprint. I'm just going to walk you through the tools, the checklist, and the process that I've put together, and just my quick 10-minute prep for diving in and then walking my teams through this and explaining a little bit of the why and diving deeper into it. So I'm going to share my screen. And the first thing that I would do is say, all right, team, we're going to review our sprint goals and our metrics and how we closed out this past sprint, see if there's anything we want to tweak and adjust. And then we're going to kick off our new sprint together. So just as a refresh, we had the goals in our 40.3 sprint that we just finished up to have our launch darkly flags. They're going to be redirected for completed for our preferences project. We definitely completed that, so that goal is behind us. We wanted to write some specs for our email verification migration that we also completed, and we have approval for that, so we can move forward with our plans there. Preference migrator is built. We've accomplished everything that we wanted to last sprint. We don't need to move that goal forward into the next sprint. And we've also done some initial load testing in our Azure Cloud database that we wanted to do. So we've accomplished all of our sprint goals. There's nothing we need to move forward with. I'd already kind of drafted one, I think, that we're going to want to write at the end of this sprint as we're planning our 41.1 sprint together. So let's dive on in. So after I review those previous sprint goals with the team, just like that, I might open up our PI objectives and also share this with the team. I'm going to share with them, here's my team name. This is the whole PI number that we're in. These were the team goals they wrote. This tells us if they were committed to achieving those at the end of the PI or not. This was the business value that was placed on those commitments. It helps us know what we should do first or prioritize first if we have control over the way we can plan that work. And just kind of notes for anyone who's not within the team and with us every day, so they can kind of come in and check out what we're doing. So I'll open this up and just make sure our objectives are front and center for the team at the sprint planning, so we can just all every 2 weeks kind of remember like where we want to keep our focus. So we'll open this up, leave any notes that we want, maybe say, oh, you know what, we are so close, we just have 90%, we accomplished a little bit more of this. We're going to bump this up to like, we just have to schedule this for release. So we're going to say we're 99% done here now at the close of sprint 3. So great job on the objectives there. We're going to move right along to our metrics. And usually we'll look over the last sprint's metrics quick, and we'll check out what we committed to for that one particular sprint. What we were actually able to deliver at the end of those 2 weeks. Any carryover tickets. So if we started the sprint with a lot of carryover work from the last, so that just helps me track and help us with patterns and trying to improve that there. And then I also kind of track mid-sprint tickets that we add in, and we always leave a little buffer room for things that we need to pull in and have the team work on outside of what we plan. If there's like an emergency bug or something that we need to do, we've got that bandwidth. And so that kind of tracks what might have come our way that might affect our overall plan. And then there's always a technical debt. And this is something that I've been tracking lately because our organization really values how much time we're able to really invest into that. And it's nice to track that and see that. So I'll share with the team where our metrics landed at the end of this third sprint, show them this page. And then as we start this new sprint together now, I'll say, okay, and let's go over to our capacity sheet and see what we can plan for the next sprint. So we'll pop over this way, and I'll say in this example, I've got we just are adding the team members' time into the sprint for what they can do. Your Scrum Master and your product owner don't typically contribute directly to your development stories. So I've got 4 developers on this team and 1 SDAT role, and they're able to give me this much of their time. We can deep dive into how I do this with another video, but for the sake of this, we're just going to be focusing on helping them plan their 70% of their upcoming sprint. So I'm going to tell the team, unless you've got any tweaks or upcoming vacation the next couple weeks, you want me to adjust your number, we're going to go ahead and try to load to about 21 points today. So we'll keep that number in the back of our heads, and we're going to leave for ourselves an additional 9 points of wiggle room in case anything comes up that we don't anticipate right now that we need to be able to handle during this next 2 weeks. So we're going to plan for 21 points and see how much we can load into our sprint. So with that number in mind, we'll bop over to our team and sprint board. We have 4 user stories that we are planning on, and ideally, you can go into these, groom them with your team, make sure all of any information your team decides together that is really pertinent. Maybe you've got some labeling systems, maybe you need to link these to your features or your epics, maybe you need to make sure your acceptance criteria is accurate, maybe test cases are defined, whatever you need to do here. This has almost no information in it, but we're also gonna hope that each of these user stories has an estimate in it before you would start your sprint. Load it up, make sure each of those points there total and don't over get us to above 21. So we'll say, let's see, for example, we can add, I don't think I don't have a place yet in this card where I can add the points, but typically I know my teams use the Fibonacci story point method. So we could dive deeper into that another time, but we'll assume that we can plan and load these 4 sprints. And as folks are actively working on them, they'll pull them over. We can kind of watch that. And we, have lots of other meetings to keep our projects on track. So with that, we'll assume that all of those stories have everything that they need. The team feels really solid and confident. And from there, we all agree that those are the stories we want to focus on the next couple weeks. We're going to wind down our time with creating goals for the next sprint. So I'll go back over to my sprint goals tab and I'll say, hey team, did we end up planning that monitoring and alerting for that preferences app that we wanted to do? And I was like, oh yeah, we definitely got that user story planned. What else do we want to have done and feel we can commit to with confidence to have achieved in the end of these next 2 weeks? They'll say, oh yeah, we want me to open up that board again? Oh yeah. Oh, we definitely have to accomplish this bug. This is a really high priority for the business. So I'll say, great, let's describe that together. What do you guys think we can demonstrate with that bug? So we'll say we are going to resolve whatever the bug was solving. So let's say login screen does not crash when user mistypes their email. We have the fix solved and scheduled for production at the close of the sprint. So we'll look over our tickets. We'll write a couple more goals together, whatever feels about right. And I'll say, we want to make sure the whole team here is going to decide if we can commit to this work, and these will be our sprint goals. And everyone will say, yep, that feels really good. We know what we've got to do. We're going to dive in. And then from there, we close up our sprint planning meeting. And that is it. And I'll say, have a great sprint. And we'll see you guys a little later today. So thanks for joining. I just, of course, used Google Sheets here and then a little bit of Jira software just to show you just some basics, but there's lots of tools out there and we can deep dive into a little bit more of those at another time. Thanks for joining.